Welcome to Narrative Strokes. Today we are listening to I'm a Clown and Everyone is Afraid of Me. I always wanted to make people laugh, ever since I was a child. Watching the clowns at the circus, I admired their painted smiles, their exaggerated movements, their ability to transform fear into laughter. I didn't understand back then how thin the line was between the two. My name is Henry, or at least that's what I was called before I became something else. Now, I go by Jingles. It started as a dream job. A small, traveling circus needed a new clown. And I jumped at the opportunity. It felt like fate. My brother Sam and I used to talk about joining the circus when we were kids. He was my only family. With him around, I never needed another best friend. He passed away 2 years ago. Suddenly, unexpectedly. A car accident. I never really got over it. I was all alone. No one to share my feelings with. The gaping hole in my heart never healed. We used to perform little shows for the neighborhood. He was always the funnier one. The one with big shoes and an even bigger laugh. When I got the job, I found his old red nose tucked in a box of our childhood things. I wore it during my first performance. It felt right. It was as if he was right there with me, performing. My routines were simple at first. The audience laughed, and I fed off that energy, perfecting my act each night. At first, everything was beautiful. I was Henry the Clown, silly, lovable, a crowd favorite. My routines were playful slapstick, balloon animals, harmless pranks. I juggled rubber chickens and pies, danced to circus music with exaggerated flair. Kids would cheer and reach for my balloons. Adults would smile warmly, some wiping away tears of laughter. I had a signature routine, chasing a tiny wind-up mouse around the stage, only for it to somehow outsmart me at every turn. Even the adults laughed at that one, appreciating the absurdity of a full-grown man losing to a toy. The sound of laughter was intoxicating. I wasn't just a clown, I was a favorite. After shows, kids would line up to take pictures with me, tugging at my sleeves and asking for autographs. The other performers would tease me lightheartedly, calling me the heart of the show. After every performance, we'd gather around the bonfire behind the tents, telling stories, sharing drinks, laughing. The ringmaster would slap me on the back and say, "You're magic, Henry, pure magic." Madame Celeste, the fortune teller, would often shake her head in mock exasperation. "You have a way with people, Henry. You bring them joy. That's a rare thing." Even Vincent, the knife thrower, who prided himself on being the stoic, brooding type, admitted, "I actually like your act, and I don't even like clowns." But grief has a strange way of lingering. At night, I'd still feel that ache. I'd talk to Sam's nose like he could hear me. Some nights, I thought I did hear him. A whisper, a chuckle, just beyond the canvas walls of my trailer. I chalked it up to exhaustion. Things changed when we traveled to a remote mountain town I'd never heard of, Grey Pines. The circus grounds were nestled in a moss-covered field, surrounded by fog and silence. No birds, no wind, just the creak of the old wooden caravans and the distant howl of something unseen. Not long after we set up, I fell ill. It started with a high fever, night sweats, and the strangest dreams. In them, I was performing under a starless sky. The audience was always silent, their faces blurred, and my reflection would laugh on its own. Madame Celeste, the fortune teller, offered to read my cards one night. She frowned and drew the tower. Then death. Then the fool. Reversed. "You've opened something," she said softly, "and something has opened in you." After Grey Pines, I was never quite the same. My routine stayed the same, but the reactions changed. At first, I thought it was just a bad night. Maybe the audience was tired, or maybe I had lost my touch. But night after night, the same thing happened. Children would laugh at first, then stare, confused. Their smiles would melt into silence. Parents shifted uncomfortably. Some left midway through my act. Even my fellow performers grew distant, avoiding my gaze, keeping their conversations short. I blamed the illness. Maybe I still looked pale, or maybe I'd lost my timing. I asked my boss about it. He shifted uncomfortably and muttered something about clowns always being a little unsettling. But his answer didn't satisfy me. But then I saw it. A woman in the front row. Her face frozen in horror. A man clenching his jaw, unable to look away. A girl crying silently, clutching her seat. But the worst part was when I looked in the mirror backstage. I didn't recognize myself. My face paint had always been simple. Red nose, exaggerated smile, bright blue diamonds around my eyes. But now, my makeup was off. I hadn't touched it. My red nose, Sam's nose, seemed darker somehow, cracked. My face in the mirror was wrong. The smile stretched too far. My eyes had sunk into my face, rimmed with something that looked like soot. I wiped at it with a damp cloth, but it didn't come off so easily. Finally, when I finished cleaning it off, the image remained, not on my skin, on the glass. The other performers noticed. I passed the fire eaters, and their chatter stopped cold. The animal trainer avoided my eyes. Whispers followed me. I overheard hushed conversations behind closed tent flaps. "Have you seen Jingles lately? He's different." "I don't like being near him anymore. Feels like he's watching, even when he's not." "I swear to God, I saw his reflection move on its own." One night after my act, I caught the knife thrower Vincent and the fortune teller Madame Celeste speaking in low voices behind the main tent. "We should talk to the ringmaster," Vincent muttered. "He's losing control of whatever he's doing." "It's not the ringmaster," Celeste whispered back. "It's him. Something has latched on to Jingles. I feel it." The name Jingles. They had started calling me that. I hadn't introduced myself that way. I stepped closer. The crate beneath my foot creaked. They turned sharply, faces pale. "What are you two talking about?" I asked. I tried to sound lighthearted. My voice came out strained. Celeste looked at me with pity and fear. "Something is wrong with you, Henry. You've changed. Your aura is corrupted." Vincent shook his head. "It's not just the audience. We all feel it. Take a break. Leave, man. Get out of here." I wanted to argue, to tell them they were being ridiculous, but I couldn't, because I felt it too. I stopped sleeping. When I closed my eyes, I heard whispers. Laughter that didn't sound right. Too high-pitched, too breathy, echoing in the empty corners of my room. My reflection changed little by little each night. My grin grew sharper. My eyes hollowed out further. And the worst part was, I couldn't stop performing. The ringmaster wouldn't let me. I told him I wanted to leave, that something was wrong, that I wasn't feeling well. He only stared at me with an unreadable expression before shaking his head. "You're our best act now, Jingles," he said. "They might not laugh, but they'll remember you." I started avoiding mirrors, but I couldn't escape my own image. Every reflective surface mocked me. My face twisted in ways it shouldn't, my lips moving when I hadn't spoken. I would catch glimpses of myself grinning from ear to ear, my head tilting unnaturally, my eyes locked onto mine even as I turned away. Then the accident started. A tightrope walker fell during a performance, snapped her neck. The strong man crushed his own hand in a feat of strength gone wrong. And the audience? They just sat there, silent, staring at me. I wasn't even performing when it happened. But somehow, I knew it was because of me. I tried to leave in the dead of the night. I packed my things, wiped off the makeup, ditched Sam's nose, and stepped out of my trailer. But as soon as I reached the edge of the circus grounds, my body wouldn't move. My feet stuck to the ground as if invisible chains bound me in place. No matter how hard I struggled, I couldn't take another step. I tried to scream, but nothing came out. The whispers came again. I turned around, unwillingly. The field behind me was full. People standing silently, blurred faces, motionless bodies, all staring, all smiling. I ran back to my trailer and locked the door, my heart pounding. I never once looked back. The whispers seeped through the walls, growing louder, overlapping voices hissing my name. Jingles. I looked in the mirror again. I wish I hadn't. My reflection wasn't mine anymore. It blinked when I didn't. It tilted its head and giggled. Then it stepped forward, out of the mirror. I blacked out. I don't remember what happened after that. Flashes remain. Blood, laughter, screaming, cold hands on my face. When I woke, it was morning. Silence. The circus grounds were empty. No performers, no audience, just me. And my reflection, watching me from every mirror, every polished surface whispering my name. Jingles. He smiles now, even when I don't. I don't know where Henry went. Maybe he died in Grapevines. Maybe he was consumed by grief, by the infection, by something older than either. All I know is the circus still performs. But now, the tent is always full, and they're always smiling. Thank you for listening to today's story. If you enjoyed it, then comment down below and let me know what you think. I'll see you next time with another story. Until then, keep smiling and don't forget to like and subscribe.